This is Fluent English Journey Podcast.
From Speak English with Nora. Welcome back, English learners. I'm Nora, and today we're diving into a topic that I think touches everyone's life at some point.
And I'm Ethan. We're talking about something really important today, how to stop feeling bad about yourself. And honestly, this is a conversation I wish I'd had with someone years ago.
Oh, really? You know, Ethan, people often see you as this confident, put-together person, but you're saying you've struggled with self-doubt too?
Self-doubt means not believing in your own abilities or worth. Oh, absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest myths out there, that some people are just naturally confident and never have negative thoughts about themselves.
That's so true. I remember in college, I used to look at my classmates and think, everyone else has it all figured out, and I'm just faking it.
Faking it means pretending to be something you're not, or pretending to know something you don't.
Wait, you felt like you were faking it too? But you were one of the top students in our program.
See, that's exactly what I mean. From the outside, everything might look perfect, but inside, someone could be dealing with what we call imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome is when you feel like you don't deserve your success and that people will discover you're not as capable as they think.
Oh my goodness, yes. I still struggle with that sometimes.
Really? Can you give us an example?
Well, just last month, I was asked to give a presentation at work about a project I'd been leading. And instead of feeling proud or excited, my first thought was, what if they realize I don't know what I'm doing?
Even though you'd been successfully leading the project?
Exactly. It makes no logical sense, but that inner critic in my head was louder than the actual evidence of my success.
Inner critic refers to that negative voice in your head that judges and criticizes you. Oh, I know that voice well. It's like having a really mean roommate living in your brain who never pays rent but always has opinions.
That's hilarious and, unfortunately, very accurate. But you know what I've learned? That voice isn't telling you the truth. It's just trying to protect you from potential failure or rejection.
What do you mean?
Well, think about it evolutionarily. Our brains developed to keep us safe, right? So if you're thinking about trying something new or putting yourself out there, your brain might say, hey, what if you fail? What if people laugh at you? Maybe you should just stay safe and not try.
So the inner critic is trying to protect us?
In a way, yes. But the problem is, what kept our ancestors safe thousands of years ago, avoiding risks, staying with the group, not standing out, those same protective mechanisms can hold us back in modern life.
Hold us back means to prevent us from progressing or achieving our goals. That's fascinating. So instead of getting angry at that voice, maybe we can acknowledge it, but not let it control our decisions.
Acknowledge means to recognize or accept that something exists.
Exactly. I like to think of it as saying, thanks, brain, for trying to keep me safe, but I've got this. I love that approach. You know, it reminds me of something my therapist told me. She said that the way we talk to ourselves matters just as much as the way other people talk to us.
Your therapist said that? That's actually really profound. Can you explain what she meant?
Well, think about it this way. If you had a friend who constantly said things like, you're so stupid, or you'll never be good at this, or everyone else is better than you, would you want to spend time with that person?
Absolutely not. That person sounds toxic and emotionally draining.
Right, but many of us talk to ourselves that way every single day, and we just accept it as normal.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. So if we wouldn't tolerate that kind of treatment from a friend, why do we tolerate it from ourselves?
Exactly. And the good news is, just like you can learn to set boundaries with toxic people, you can learn to set boundaries with your own negative self-talk.
Self-talk is the conversation you have with yourself in your head.
How do you do that? How do you set boundaries with your own thoughts?
Well, one technique that's really helped me is something called the best friend test. When I catch myself thinking something mean about myself, I ask, would I say this to my best friend if she were in the same situation?
And if the answer is no,
Then I try to reframe it. Reframe means to think about something in a different, usually more positive way.
Instead of, I'm so stupid for making that mistake, I might say, everyone makes mistakes, and this is how I learn.
That's brilliant. It's like being your own compassionate friend instead of your worst enemy.
Compassionate means showing kindness and understanding, especially when someone is suffering. Yes, and you know what's interesting? I've noticed that when I'm kinder to myself, I actually perform better, not worse.
Really? How so?
Well, when I'm constantly criticizing myself, I spend so much mental energy on those negative thoughts that I don't have much left for actually solving problems or being creative. But when I practice self-compassion, I feel more relaxed and focused.
Self-compassion means treating yourself with the same kindness you would show a good friend.
That makes total sense. It's like the difference between having a supportive coach versus a harsh critic.
Exactly. A good coach pushes you to improve, but also encourages you when you're struggling. A harsh critic just makes you feel terrible and doesn't help you get better. You know, this reminds me of something that happened to me a few weeks ago. I was learning to cook a new recipe, and I completely burned the main dish.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, my first instinct was to get really frustrated with myself and think, I'm terrible at cooking, I should just give up. But then I remembered what we've been talking about, and I tried to shift my perspective.
Shift your perspective means to change the way you look at or think about something.
What did you tell yourself instead?
I said, okay, this didn't work out, but cooking is a skill that takes practice. Even professional chefs burn food sometimes. What can I learn from this for next time?
And how did that feel different?
So much better. Instead of feeling like a failure, I felt curious about how to improve. And you know what? I tried the recipe again the next week, and it turned out great. That's amazing. You know, that story perfectly illustrates something I learned recently about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset.
What's the difference?
A fixed mindset believes that your abilities are set in stone and can't change. A growth mindset believes that you can develop your abilities through effort and learning.
So when I thought I'm terrible at cooking, that was fixed mindset?
Exactly. You were treating cooking ability like it was something you either have or you don't. But when you said cooking takes practice, that was growth mindset. You were seeing it as something you could improve.
I love this framework. It makes me think about all the areas of my life where I might be stuck in fixed mindset without realizing it.
Like what?
Well, I've always thought I was bad at making small talk with strangers. But maybe instead of thinking, I'm just not a social person, I could think, I haven't developed my small talk skills yet.
Yes, see how different that feels? The first way makes it sound permanent and hopeless. The second way makes it sound like something you can work on.
It's like adding the word yet to the end of negative statements about yourself. I'm not good at this yet.
I love that. Yet is such a powerful little word, isn't it? It automatically implies that change is possible.
Speaking of change, I want to talk about something that I think really sabotages people's self-confidence.
Sabotage means to deliberately damage or interfere with something. What is it?
Comparison, especially social media comparison. I think we're living in an age where it's easier than ever to feel bad about yourself because you're constantly seeing other people's highlight reels.
Highlight reel means the best moments or achievements, like a collection of someone's greatest successes. Oh my goodness, yes. You're comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's carefully curated public image.
Curated means carefully selected and presented.
Exactly. Someone posts a photo of their beautiful vacation, and you don't see the 3 hours they spent arguing about directions or the food poisoning they got on day 2.
Right. Or someone posts about their new job promotion, and you don't see the months of rejection letters they got before that, or the anxiety attacks they had during the interview process.
Have you found any strategies for dealing with that comparison trap?
Actually, yes. One thing that's helped me is practicing what I call gratitude scrolling. When I see someone's success story on social media, instead of thinking, why can't I have that? I try to think, good for them. That's inspiring.
That's really cool. So instead of using other people's success as evidence that you're failing, you're using it as evidence that success is possible.
Exactly. And sometimes I even comment something encouraging. It's amazing how celebrating other people can actually make you feel better about yourself.
Celebrating means expressing happiness about someone's success or good fortune.
That's so counterintuitive, but it makes sense. When you're focused on lifting others up, you're not focused on tearing yourself down.
Plus, it helps you remember that there's enough success and happiness to go around. Someone else's win doesn't mean there's less available for you.
You know, Nora, I think we should talk about something that might be uncomfortable for some listeners, but it's really important.
What's that?
Sometimes the voice telling us we're not good enough isn't just coming from inside our heads. Sometimes it's coming from real people in our lives.
You mean like critical family members or friends?
Yeah, or coworkers, or even romantic partners. And that makes it so much harder to build self-confidence because you start to think, maybe they're right. Maybe I really am not good enough.
That's such an important point, because when the criticism is coming from someone you care about or someone in a position of authority, it can feel more valid than your own inner critic.
Exactly. And I think it's crucial to learn the difference between constructive feedback and just plain meanness.
Constructive feedback is criticism that's meant to help you improve, given in a kind and specific way. How can you tell the difference?
Well, constructive feedback is usually specific, focused on behavior rather than character, and offered with the intention of helping you grow. Like, I noticed you interrupted me several times during the meeting. Could you try to let me finish my thoughts next time?
And what would the mean version sound like?
Something like, you're so rude and selfish, you never listen to anyone. See the difference? One is about specific behavior that can be changed, the other is about your character as a person.
That's so helpful. And I think it's okay to tell people when their feedback crosses the line into being hurtful rather than helpful.
Absolutely. You can say something like, I want to hear your concerns, but I need you to express them in a way that doesn't attack who I am as a person.
And if they can't or won't do that, it might be time to set some boundaries about what kind of treatment you'll accept.
Set boundaries means to establish limits about what behavior you will and won't tolerate.
Yes, because here's the thing. You can't control what other people say, but you can control how much weight you give their opinions.
Give weight to something means to consider it important or significant.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if someone who doesn't know you very well, or someone who has a pattern of being negative about everything, criticizes you, you might decide that their opinion doesn't carry much weight in your life.
But what if it's someone whose opinion usually matters to you?
That's trickier, but I think you can still evaluate whether their criticism is fair and useful, even if it comes from someone you love. Love doesn't automatically make someone's judgment perfect.
That's really wise. And I think it ties back to what we were saying earlier about being your own compassionate friend. Sometimes you need to advocate for yourself, even with people you care about.
Advocate for yourself means to speak up for your own needs and defend your worth.
Exactly. It's not about being defensive or refusing to listen to feedback. It's about maintaining your sense of self-worth while still being open to growth.
You know, as we're talking about all this, I'm realizing that building self-confidence isn't really about convincing yourself that you're perfect.
What do you think it's about instead?
I think it's about accepting that you're human, which means you're going to make mistakes and have flaws, and that's okay. It's about believing that you're worthy of love and respect, even when you're not perfect.
That's beautiful. It's like the difference between thinking, I need to be flawless to be valuable, versus I'm valuable as I am, and I'm also capable of growth.
Yes, and I think that second mindset actually makes you more likely to take healthy risks and try new things, because you're not afraid that one failure will prove you're worthless.
Speaking of trying new things, I want to share something with our listeners that might help them practice this.
What is it?
It's called the self-compassion break. When you notice yourself being really hard on yourself, you can try this simple exercise.
How does it work?
First, you acknowledge what you're feeling, like, this is really difficult right now, or I'm feeling really frustrated with myself. You don't try to fix it or judge it, just acknowledge it.
Acknowledge means to recognize and accept something.
Okay, and then what?
Then you remind yourself that struggle is part of being human. Something like, everyone goes through difficult times, or making mistakes is how people learn.
And the third step?
You offer yourself some kindness. Maybe put your hand on your heart and say something you'd say to a good friend, like, it's okay, you're doing your best, or this is hard, but you'll get through it.
I love how simple that is. It's like giving yourself a mental hug when you need it most.
Exactly. And the more you practice it, the more automatic it becomes. Instead of your default being self-criticism, your default becomes self-compassion.
You know what? I think we should challenge our listeners to try this.
What kind of challenge?
For the next week, every time you catch yourself thinking something mean about yourself, I want you to pause and ask, would I say this to my best friend? And if the answer is no, try to rephrase it in a kinder way.
Rephrase means to say something again using different words.
That's a great challenge. And I want to add something to it.
What?
I want our listeners to celebrate one small thing they did well each day, even if it seems insignificant. Maybe you made a healthy breakfast, or you were patient with a difficult customer, or you helped a friend with a problem.
Why is that important?
Because we tend to focus so much on what we did wrong that we forget to notice what we did right. But building self-confidence is partly about training your brain to see your strengths and successes, not just your failures.
I love that. It's like rewiring your brain to look for evidence that you're capable and worthy, instead of evidence that you're not.
Exactly. And over time, that shift in focus can really change how you see yourself and how you show up in the world.
You know, Ethan, as we wrap up today's conversation, I'm feeling really hopeful about this topic.
Why is that?
Because everything we've talked about today, changing your self-talk, practicing self-compassion, setting boundaries, celebrating small wins, these are all skills that anyone can learn.
You're saying that self-confidence is learnable?
I really believe it is. It might not happen overnight and it takes practice, but I think anyone can develop a healthier, kinder relationship with themselves.
And remember, dear listeners, if you're struggling with this stuff, that doesn't mean you're broken or weak. It means you're human and you're trying to grow, and that's actually really brave.
Beautifully said. And don't forget to check out the transcript and exercises in the description below. We'd love to hear about your self-compassion journey in the comments.
Until next time, be kind to yourselves, celebrate your progress, and remember, you're worthy of love and respect, exactly as you are. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Nora. Thanks for joining us on Fluent English Journey, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos to keep improving your English. See you next time.